Omar Khan dropped a little bit of a hint, not much, just saying simply Arthur Smith is working up some cool, quote unquote, cool packages for Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. Two quarterback system in Pittsburgh coming in 2024. Maybe that's where he's headed with this. Maybe they're looking at it and just saying, well, Lamar Jackson in his rookie year, Joe Flacco as a veteran seemed to work out totally fine for the Baltimore Ravens, especially there at the end. There's a lot to dive into this. I got a lot to say, but I want to hear your thoughts first. You hear two quarterback system, the rule of thumb, you got two quarterbacks, you got no quarterbacks. Do you agree with it? What were your thoughts?
The two quarterback system does worry me a little bit, but at this point, with the way that the Steelers have built their offense and their weapons, I'm just curious to see what they pull out of their hat, especially Arthur Smith being an actual competent offensive coordinator. I have a little bit more faith because we were dealing with the floor last year with Matt Canada and the year before that. And the year before that. So I'm intrigued to see it, but typically this gives me a little bit of pause because I typically subscribe to the thing that you just mentioned, which is if you have two, do you really even have one?
Exactly. If you have two, do you have one? Who knows? I've had this brought up to me, and I think it's a good point. People like to compare it to, well, Lamar Jackson did it his rookie year, and it worked out fine. And I think there is both a positive and a negative to take away from that notion, because I agree with you wholeheartedly, 100%. If you have two good quarterbacks, you're better off picking one and saying, that's my quarterback. I'm going to develop this guy into whoever I believe he can become. Or you have two quarterbacks and you're just going to keep them as quarterbacks because they can't develop. People bring up Lamar Jackson and say, dude, his rookie year, he was the runner. Joe Flacco was the passer. He was the veteran. It was his team. And eventually it turned into Lamar Jackson's team. And that seemed to work out totally fine. I agree with that. And I think there's a good side to that where you look at it and you say, Lamar Jackson as a rookie and where Justin Fields is entering year 4 are two totally different people when it comes to throwing the football. Justin Fields could launch it. He's got an arm. He's working on a quicker release, as we saw videos out there. It just looks like a guy who, he's not Lamar as a rookie. And he could probably run just as well as Lamar as a rookie, which gives you the ability to utilize him as a runner, but also keep the defense on their toes as a passer, which if you're going to do this, if you're going to go two quarterback system, which is seemingly what the Pittsburgh Steelers are preparing to do, I think that that's not a bad move. I think at the same time, you want to see what you get in Justin Fields, right? Like if you look at Russell Wilson as your guy this season, but you traded for Justin Fields and you have hopes that Justin Fields is your long-term guy, it doesn't matter if he doesn't get the starting job or does not get the starting job because you want Russell Wilson to get the starting job. So if Russ wins the job that you made him the favorite to win, you are not taking away from Justin Fields. You're not looking at it and saying, well, Justin Fields lost the job. No, he started a leg behind to lose the job. The Steelers wanted him to lose the job. You're not changing your future plans about how you view Justin Fields. So I think that you have to get him on the field at least a little bit. I think you got to see what you could get out of this kid because at the end of the season, you're going to make a decision on whether or not you're going to sign him to another year deal or another 2-year deal. And chances are, if you're not signing him before the season, which I think is still a very real possibility, but we're just talking hypothetically, is, the end of next year, you're going to look at it and it's not going to be $4 million. If you sign him before this season, you could probably get him 1 year, $4-5 million bucks. And I know that that's crazy to think of, but I think you could, and you could detail it to him that he's the guy next year and he's going to get an opportunity. If it's at the end of the season, I think you're looking at it and you're signing him for 15 million bucks. And at that point, you want to know if he's a guy. You want to know if you're going to look at him and say, this guy could be a starter at least for a year, and we got something, because you're not going to take a risk on him. It was the same thing with Mason. It was the same thing with everybody else. I think a 2-quarterback package in a very limited degree can work. I think that if you overuse it, it can't work, and it's going to turn into something very negative. What's the happy medium? What's the happy medium? If you look at this, what's the happy medium? Are you hoping Russ is the guy at that point? If Justin Fields looks real good by the end of the season, is he overtaking Russell Wilson? What's the happy medium? What are you looking for here?
The happy medium is whoever they choose wins games. And at the end of the day, when you're looking at a 2 QB system, if you're winning games and if it's getting you to win games, then nobody's going to complain about it. I think the happy medium is potentially the 2 quarterback system. As wary as I am of that, you give Justin a little bit of time to make impacts on games, to come in and make big plays, to come in and to build that rapport with the George Pickens, who's going to be here, with a Calvin Austin, who we're going to talk about. You give him those opportunities in live action during the regular season, but also do it to a level where you're winning games and it's working. I think if you're winning, nobody's going to complain, especially if you get to use both quarterbacks. But if it starts to tail off, then people are going to get antsy. Or if and every time Justin comes in and he's great and then Russell struggles, people are going to get antsy. So I don't know if there's a win-win situation in there for the Steelers, but there's certainly a win situation. That is just if they win games with whatever they choose to do.
Exactly. And that's the negative to it, is I don't know if there's a win-win. I don't think you could use a 2 quarterback package and say Justin Fields looks really good in limited time, but Russell Wilson's still going to be the starter. Russell Wilson is 10 years older than Justin Fields. Look it. And Anthony's got a good point in the comments here. Winning cures all. That's 100% true. But a 10-year gap of what you're looking at next season, the season after that, the season after that, the season after that, I think that starts to overtake. And fans are fickle. Media is fickle. Coaches are way less fickle, but this is the NFL. It's a fickle league. And if you're looking at this and saying the Steelers are winning, they look really good, but in those small glances, they look way better with Justin Fields on the field. Now you got a situation. Now you got a situation. You lose a game, Russell Wilson looks bad in that game. Now you got a situation. I just think it leads to more situations than it does positive things. That being said, I'm all for getting Justin Fields on the field as much as humanly possible this season, even if he's not starting. But I think if you start to utilize it too much, the Steelers are in for drama when they don't want drama. This offseason's been all about how do we get rid of the drama. I think you could find yourself in more quarterback controversy as the year's going on, which is not where you want to be.